To the Author's Corner. You know who I am, Marissa Bludon. I am so excited because guess what? I'm live and in person. We are here in Philadelphia. We are here at Hakim's Bookstore, and I have with me
Yvonne Blake.
And
Brother Chris.
All right, Brother Chris is in the house. And so we want to talk to you about Hakim's Bookstore, how it originated here in Philadelphia, and all of the backdrop to this amazing story, and how this bookstore is still here. It's still live, standing, and well. And as you can see, we got a top-notch inventory here of books, and I'm so excited to be here. So Yvonne, talk to us about, well, how did this start? It's a family affair.
This store was started by my late father in 1959. He became interested in books on our history after reading some books by the noted historian J.A. Rogers. The first two books were 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro, and the second one was The Five Negro Presidents. And that sparked a fire in him to seek out more books about our history. And he was so impressed with the fact that he found out that he realized our history didn't start with slavery, something that nobody was being taught.
Right. And why is that so relevant today? I'm going to pass this over to Chris. I want him to explain to us who he is and his position here. But why is this so relevant today? Because, and I need those books. So why is that relevant today?
It's relevant because, like Miss Yvonne mentioned, when our father got started, the truth of our world contributions was cut, not even in half. It was cut short. And even generations that followed after his, as far as local graduates, national graduates, they were all still getting pieces of our story, pieces of the world contribution, pieces of the world history that we made countless times. So we're just trying to fill in the gaps because we realize that the gaps are still there. Some are by accident, but some are intentionally done by design. So we're here intentionally to make sure that we're here to offer the remedies to fill in those gaps and to make sure that people have a holistic idea of the contributions that were offered by our people worldwide.
Yeah, especially with the curriculum, all of our history being erased, right? Mm-hmm. So even slavery, because if you can remove slavery from the textbooks and eventually remove it from the mind, because that's the agenda, right? The agenda is to take the history in written form so that mentally you begin to lose it, and it's almost as if it never existed. And so I want to pivot back to you, Yvonne, and talk about give our audience some of the journey from when your dad began. How are you guys still here?
That's a good question. I really don't know.
I love this. They're here with
for
me.
Determination and a promise that I made to my father when we knew that he was going to pass. He became ill, that I would keep the store open as long as I could and try to continue his legacy. But for him, the journey was a difficult one. And a lot of the things that he went through, I didn't realize until I was an adult. Because when he first opened the store in 1959, I was 8 years old.
Wow. Oh.
And we had a little store, wasn't the one we're in now. And we didn't have any customers. And he was selling books that I'd never seen before and that nobody was talking about reading. Wow. So I thought my father was just kind of an odd person that just wanted to open this little bookstore and sell stuff. And I didn't understand why.
Yeah. Well, thank God for his tenacity and the audacity, because how often, an audience, you already know, being a part of the Own It family, how, a lot of times when you're innovative and you're doing something that's not the norm, you're considered to be like, we can say like kind of crazy. Like, right. Why would you even do this? And this is not going to work. And that's why I always tell you to go for it. Never give up. And if it's something that God has put in your heart to do, go and do it, because that's in that lies your fulfillment. And so I know that this had to be a huge fulfillment for your father.
It was. And once he figured out that this is what he wanted to do, he stayed with it. He didn't get support from family members. He didn't get support from some of his friends. And he wasn't encouraged at all. I really don't know how he did it. I remember hearing the adults always talking, here comes Hakim with those books. Why does he keep trying to sell those books? And then as I got older and I was in school and they still weren't talking about any of the things that he was talking about. So I thought he was a little off the radar.
Right.
And that's what happens in school now when they're still not teaching history. You're wondering, well, did this really happen? Because nobody's, talking about this in my school.
Right.
And this is what, he really wanted to change.
Yeah. And what happens with people when they know their legacy, when they know their lineage, when they know their heritage? It empowers you. So when we talk about our young people and even some of the adults, like having identity crisis, it's because you don't have not knowledgeable. You're not reading about who you are, and you're not aligning with your design. We are all designed a specific way. We talk about personalities, right? We talk about things that we like and we don't like. Well, that's your design. That's how you are wired. And reading, searching and seeking and getting this wealth of knowledge and history helps you to begin to form your own identity and align with your design and get on in alignment with your assignment, which is your life. And so that's why this is so critically important, because your father got in alignment with his assignment for his life, and it was to be here, and especially at such a time as this, because we need you. Like, we need to know the history. We need to know about the Black presidents that were already here, that have already served, right? Because if it was 19, when did the doors open for the
59, 60.
Okay, that was 1959, 60. So that was way before President Obama, right? So I want to shift over to you, Chris, and talk to us a little bit about why this is so important. What is your work here? And talk to us about your vision.
Okay. I would be happy to. First and foremost, the reason that I'm here as a customer, as a volunteer, as a supporter, is because this is a cultural pillar of our community. I like to call Philadelphia Blackadelphia because of the countless contributions that were taught and even not taught in the formal education, but they still happen. And then Blackadelphia needs a place that's a safe place for our story to be told truthfully and holistically, which is what Brother Hakim started in 1959. And this is what Miss Yvonne has been preserving since she's taken over. I've come along as a volunteer maybe 6 or 7 years ago, after finding out about the store from a friend of mine in Detroit. Being a native Philadelphian, I had went well into my 20s and never heard of the store, never visited the store. But once you told me about the possibility of them potentially closing, thankfully I had a bit of knowledge of self.
Right.
And that made me have to come down here with a former business partner at the time. And we just wanted to see what we can do to just offer some type of support, and just get our network to come down here and to get in the know of what we have in Hakim's bookstore. And then that was the beginning of me and Miss Yvonne finding out that the store still is very valuable across generations. It's very much useful and beneficial for entire households because households represent cross generations.
Yep.
And then what they provide here in the store is things that allow family members to be able to relate and to become stronger as a family unit or as a family chain. Because these are the things that families can use as icebreakers to have the conversations that help them stay strong, stay relating to one another, stay knowing how to support one another, but also know that what they're doing is also on the purpose of what our culture needs for it to have longevity.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot, and it's so critically important because we talk about the village, right? So there's two pieces that I want to kind of drive home. Was you said volunteer, right? Customer and a volunteer. And so, Yvonne, how important is volunteers to Hakim's bookstore?
Very important because we struggled for a long time. As I said, I almost closed the store, so I didn't have the money to pay somebody to be here. And so I had family members helping out. And then I was just amazed when this stranger came in with his business partner and said, "What can we do to help you?" It really changed my focus and made me realize that maybe we really are doing something important here. If these young guys, and as you can see, there's a big age difference here, want to come in here and help out. Although I think he just likes to tell me what to do. But anyway, it's really important. I mean, we're in a better position now, and perhaps Chris won't always be a volunteer, but just the fact that he would come in and give his time, and he learned different things about the business, and he helped teach me things because he was already a business owner.
Right.
And so we've learned from each other.
Absolutely.
And it's just really good to have him here. He got me out of my mindset. When my father died, we were all totally traumatized for a couple of years.
I could
because
imagine.
he was only 65.
Ooh,
And
ooh.
I'm older now than he was when he died. And, I had another job. I worked for a company for 36 years because, again, I didn't really see the significance of what he was doing. And, you go to school and they tell you to go work in corporate America. And I'm thinking, my father just has this little bookstore down there that he likes to run. And I didn't think it was important enough for me to try to come here and work.
Right.
I mean, he had me working in the store when I was in high school and junior high school. I actually had to open the store for him because he had a city job. He wasn't able to make a living for his family just selling books.
No.
Just selling books. And through perseverance and determination and whatnot, he was finally able to get a brick and mortar, but he still needed somebody in there to open it. And I used to have to go there after school. And I was like, well, why can't I go out with my friends? I don't want to have to open the store, but it taught me a lot.
Yeah.
But I still did not learn the significance of everything he was doing until much later.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And hopefully with hearing this story, we become more conscious of the importance of family businesses, because that's exactly what this is. This is a family business, and making sure that the next generation understands why the family business is being started up, launching, how important it is and integral it is for them to participate at the grassroots, right? So that they understand the protocols, the policies, the processes, everything that's required for you to build and sustain a successful family business. And it's a blessing that you had an aha moment at some point.
Yes.
Before it was too late.
Right.
Because we all watched Empire, right? We all watched Empire. Well, that's what this really is. It's a bookstore, but it's an empire for this family. And with marketing right, having Chris come in here and making sure your mom knows exactly what to do to market it right, it can flourish, it can expand, it can grow, it can elevate. It's beautiful, and I am going to take some shots and make sure that the viewers get a chance to see some video and some of the authors that are housed here, so that you get familiar with some of the inventory. But go to the website. So we are here. If you're asking, well, what are they talking about and what bookstore is this? We're at Hakim's Bookstore, and it's hakimsbookstore.com. It's here in the heart of Philadelphia. And it is one of the founding Black-owned businesses in this area. And so you're getting ready to get a plaque or an achievement. Talk to us about that.
We're getting a historical marker from the state of Pennsylvania as the first and the oldest African-American bookstore opened in Philadelphia and on the East Coast.
How about that?
And that will be taking place on September 23rd.
So I know Papa is up there saying, that's my baby girl.
Yeah,
that's my baby girl.
It's bittersweet. I don't think he ever did. In fact, I know he didn't do what he was doing for recognition. He did it to help uplift our people and to teach us self-determination, to be independent, and to think for ourselves and to know our value. So I'm just really upset that he's not here to see what's going to be taking place.
He's getting a glimpse.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting the glimpse, and I know that feeling because I can relate. My mom passed at I believe it was 52. It's been so many years. I mean, it's 52 or 53. I'm 55 now, and I know that feeling of the degrees, the accomplishments, and things like that. But they're there, and the most important thing to them is that you didn't drop the baton. Right? You didn't drop the baton and just leave it hanging out. What the next thing is that the next generation. I know you're sitting over there. We have someone else here.
Here,
Now, she
Alana.
doesn't want to get on camera, but we can
Come
hear
here,
her
Alana.
voice.
Come here.
And so,
Let them
Alana,
see Hakim's great granddaughter.
yes, you can peek your head in here. We're all family now. Yeah, come on. We got you. Yeah, just poke your head in
my
here.
seat for a second.
Yeah, you can sit here.
there, 'cause I gotta
Come on. And talk to us about a little bit about what you do here. Look, I'm gonna pull you closer. Look at she's towering over me. So talk to us a little bit about your viewpoint as the next generation coming in. What's your viewpoint? How do you feel about this? How is this impacting you?
Actually, the bookstore is impacting me a lot because working in here with my grandma, seeing my mom, and then working here all my life actually made me want to go to college for business so that one day I can help grow this business in the future.
Oh, awesome. So beautiful. Yeah, and that's so important because someone needs to understand because sustainability is what you want to accomplish is sustainability and growth so that you can impact the community more and more and more and more. And so I want to pivot back to volunteering and how we talk about it takes a village. And so I know that when I left here last week, you said, go across the street and talk to them and talk. It's that kind of support and collaboration that helps with sustainability and it helps with, getting the word out there because even though we do a lot of marketing and advertising, it's still word of mouth. It's reputation that still is the biggest, influencer of increased profits, profitability. And so I want to talk to you about the community. How is the community support and what activities does Hakim Bookstore participate as far as in the community?
Well, we do have book signings and we have community events here. We had a political meeting here during the presidential election when it was Obama. When Obama was getting elected.
No, it was Trump. And
Okay.
Oh, it was why Trump shouldn't be elected.
the Biden and Trump election.
Oh, okay.
We had a female-led organization come on in. We wanted to always honor the community near and far. Always honor the feminine energy with us being a feminine-led organization. We want to always honor the reflections and the shoulders that we stand on and being a Black-owned business and being an educational institution and just being a Black family. So we were able to partner with the organization that was based out of DC called Politicking.
Okay.
2 Howard graduates hit that, and they were able to use their system and their network to come on down to the bookstore and make sure that we had just a dope panel, a dope discussion. We had questions, a Q&A. We had young people from Community College of Philadelphia perform and speak.
Okay.
And then we actually had one of the debates on the TV as well. So while people were able to network and kind of continue conversations from that event, they were also able to tune in and hear what the nation was getting updated with around that election. On top of that situation, we have local authors as well as national authors come and utilize this space. We try to share our platform and being over 60 plus years old. We feel like part of our responsibility is to share our experience, showcase the belief in other people's business ideas and ideas turning into reality. So we try to share the platform as as people come to doing story time, doing book signings. We had poetry events. We had a really creative trap poetry event one time before COVID.
All right.
COVID shook things up. We were doing mentoring with young people from schools like Boys Latin around the corner. We were teaching 5th and 6th graders how to use the camera to capture their community changing, but also getting life skills and exposure to entrepreneurship and learning how they conduct themselves amongst each other impacts how other cultures decide how they deal with them in their businesses.
Right.
So just literally using our educational institution in every way to educate and to remind one another of how valuable their presence is.
Awesome. So what books are here? Like,
We have books on Paul Robeson, who I've had people walk through the door that have never heard of him. which is, and I'm guilty. I didn't know who he was for a long time. I didn't know about the Tulsa race riots for
Ooh.
until I was an adult. We had Black Wall Street. We have books that my dad sold, like Manchild and the Promised Land and Nigger by Dick Gregory. We
Wow.
carry a lot of books that we carried all along, and there's a lot of new authors and whatnot, but we're known for having out of print books, or trying to find books that are out of print, and to just maintain the ambience and the knowledge that my father started.
That is excellent. And so you have a lot of history here that we need to know about. Not the common history, but the history, the unspoken history, right? The less than popular, but it's very necessary.
Now, here's one book. We actually had that gentleman, Mr. Katz, come here. He wrote The Black Indians in the Black West.
Wow.
And that was many, many years ago. I didn't know anything about Black Indians. I didn't know that the Lone Ranger was fashioned after Bass Reeves, who was a black man.
Wow.
And as you notice, we have a lot of children's books here. We expanded the children's section of the store after,
I see.
Because when I first took over the store, it just amazed me that I would go in stores and I didn't see any books with black children in them. I saw books with Hispanic children and I saw books with Asian children. I did not see many books with black children. And of course, I grew up reading Dick and Jane, and everybody had blonde hair and blue eyes and a little white picket fence. And it's important for our children to see themselves reflected in everyday situations. Not just that we're criminals or whatnot. That we live just like everybody else.
We're middle class. We have money. We don't have money.
Exactly.
Just like we're a little bit of everything. And so, that's so true. It's so important. And so, don't worry. We are going to have lots of pictures of the books that are here, and you will have them. We'll drop them in the thread, so you'll have it and you'll know. Again, it's Hakim's Bookstore. We're in the heartbeat of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we are here live in the bookstore. You can see all the books behind me. This is awesome. And so I just want to say, what do you see in the future? Because you are the future. So what do you see in the future? Get your business degree. What's getting ready to happen? Yeah, we're putting you, Johnny, on the spot. Speak that vision out into the atmosphere, right, Chris? Look, now I can do this.
Be intentional.
Yeah, be intentional.
But be authentic as well.
As of right now, I'm trying to be honest. I really don't know. I'm in the beginning of my education into the business world. All I know for the future is that I want the business to continue to succeed and to keep helping out and keep educating the Black community.
Yeah, that's it. But that's it. That's it, to continue to educate the Black community, because we are going to have to go somewhere to find our truth. Right? We're going to have to go, because we're not getting told. They're taking it out of the curriculum, or they're distorting the curriculum. And so we need to be able to go somewhere and have our truth. That's why I felt like it was so important, because with my schedule being as crazy as it is, it's easy to say, oh, can I meet with you? Let's do it online when I get back. No, I'm here live and in color. And I said, this has to be done. This has to be done. We have to talk about, and we have to become more knowledgeable of our resources locally and abroad. And I heard that you say you ship.
We ship books all over, and we specifically ship books to prisons. And that was one of the things my father started, prison mail order, back in the 60s when he had his first store. And I've had prisoners, I've had people that ended up in the system that are now out of the system come in here and thank me and tell me that my father gave them their first book.
Wow.
My father shipped books to them. He used to have mentoring meetings with the young men in the area. And this actually was a house of knowledge. Once he got the information, he shared it with other people. And his thing wasn't just to educate Black people, but he wanted to educate everybody about the fact that, you're giving us a bad deal here.
Right.
We're not what you have portrayed us as, and you need to know that also.
Right.
And that was brought home when the local newspaper wrote the article about us possibly closing. And one of the comments the editor got was, people know Black people didn't invent anything. These are just books that they wrote to fool other people.
Wow.
And she actually shared that with me.
Wow.
She shared. And so there are people out here that are just that ignorant.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that are in denial and that don't want to give us our due. And my
No.
father wasn't having it.
No. Well, this is interesting that you would hand me this book because my dad was a black cowboy.
Oh, okay.
So I grew up riding horses, honey. I grew up riding horses. That was so important. How can people support? So you give to the prison. So how can people donate to Hakim's bookstore?
So let me add some value to that question. An easy way for people to come and support us is just to visit the store. I feel like one of the reasons that we made it beyond 60 years of business is because we don't slight the standard around community customer service, being a member of the community. So being a member of a community, you are a part of the impression and the vibe that that community gives off, the reputation that that community is known for. So just come on down and really see if you can agree and if anything resonates with you from our family business. Then from there, don't fight the feeling. If something does resonate, ask a question, ask an opinion, ask for some feedback because you may find some similarities or some synergy there. And it's always easier to make a purchase or support anything when you're in agreement or in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
So just come on and see what you're in agreement and in alignment with. If you can't make it to Blackadelphia for whatever reason, visit us virtually. HakimsBookstore.com. Hakim's is spelled Hakims. And you'll be able to see our shelves virtually. I would say 92% of all our books on our shelves is reflected on that website. And if you don't see it online, call us.
Right.
That's another way that you can get a vibe, embrace from us, and put a special order in. Whether you don't see, whether you see it, whether it's out of stock, or whether you just need something specific, we would love to take care of you. And then you can also support us by not being stingy with the good word. So whether you visit us virtually or in person, come on down and talk about, and tell people about your experience, the impression felt. The difference between the bookstores where you're from and maybe us, the difference from another bookstore in the city versus when you came and visited us. But just be able to share the good word around Hakim's. That's been a major, major, major part of how we've been able to make it to 60 plus years, being able to deliver an impression that made people want to share us. So whether it's on Google, whether it's in your social media followers, or actually sharing it within your Rolodex and your contact list, just not being stingy with the good value in the family affair that we call Hakim's Bookstore.
Awesome, awesome. That is so excellent, Chris. I'm going to take it over here, ladies. Let's close it out, and then just share your closing thoughts.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for finding us and for reaching out to me to do this and to give our store recognition, because everything that I am doing for my dad.
Yeah.
I am doing for my dad. He fought long and hard. And as you can tell, I always get emotional, and they always tease me. I don't get to interviews. But, my dad was even followed by the FBI when they were investigating black bookstores because and trying to make them subversive.
Oh,
and all he was trying to do was educate people. He opened a store in Atlanta, Georgia. Also, he went down there. He was impressed with it. He had a store near Morehouse College. He used to lecture over at Morehouse. My father did so many things that I didn't know he was doing because I was busy living my own life at that time. But he was well respected by so many people. And I get calls, I get letters. I have senior citizens that are coming in here or young people that just said, your father had such an influence on me. And that's one of the reasons why I'm still here.
Oh.
And I just wish people would, just go to our website, come into the store. If you're in Philadelphia, we will welcome you here. Everybody's family at Hakim's.
Awesome. Well, we have the Author's Corner. I'm going to let you go, girl. So what are your closing thoughts before I go in?
Like she said, it's so nice for you to come out and show your support for the store. And what's crazy about her talking about Atlanta is I go to Clark, Atlanta, and I literally am down the street from where she said his store used to be. So every time we visit, she likes to show that also. It's just crazy how everything just goes full circle, because I didn't know that he had a store in Atlanta until I applied to Clark, and her and my mom were talking about it. So.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Hakim's Bookstore here in Philadelphia, PA. And you, Chris, give the address.
Yes, so our address here in West Blackadelphia is 210 South 52nd Street. That's 52nd and Walnut Street. We're right next door to Mr. Hook's Restaurant. We would love to come up and have you come on in and be embraced.
And so, authors, I'm going to charge you to come and have your book signing here. Utilize the space. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. I'm going to take my phone and go around and get a little viewing of the space. It's a beautiful space, beautiful atmosphere, very relaxing. And come have your book signing here. You have a small gathering and want to have a little mini symposium and talk about a specific topic that's going to bring education, enlightenment to the community, to the members of the community, and beyond. Come here, utilize this space. And like Chris said, share, come visit online. If you can't be here physically, visit online, hakimsbookstore.com. Visit online, and show your love and support. We got to do this, people, because we got to give them the ability for sustainability, and we do that by our support, by your books here. And so this has been a true treasure and pleasure. I'm so excited. And so this has been the Author's Corner on Own It Magazine and Publishing, and we are out. People want to say goodbye.
Bye.